Simply put, sincerely, thank you. Let's get started.
You're a smart motherfucker, that's right.
Welcome to the 1,000 subscriber celebration Q&A / Mancave Tour. I am the Objective Geek, aka Chris. Although I never usually say my name, so nice to meet you. But we have did it. We passed 1,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel. And I say we because I owe you all so much gratitude and so much thanks to y'all. Y'all didn't have to watch my videos. You didn't have to subscribe. It's all completely free. But sincerely, thank you. It means the world to me that many of you care enough about my opinion on things and my thoughts and my analysis that you watched and you subscribed. So want to do a Q&A / Mancave Tour to celebrate it. All right, so I fielded some questions. Let's get started with some. Okay, first from the Greek Geek, who is 100% geek, and I think he's only half Greek. Movie reviews. He says, what is your favorite science fiction movie of all time? The thing about science fiction is that I'm not really that into science fiction movies, but there are a couple that I really do love. Interstellar, I mean, I just love Christopher Nolan, but man, this movie that was like so wrapped up into realism that like they had an actual physicist do the science behind it, and apparently everything checks out to a certain extent. But just the thought that like love is one of the most powerful things in the universe and that it can transcend space-time. Just that concept and that theme I found so engaging and so emotional. Just man, and Matthew McConaughey completely kills it when he yells out Murph. Like, I just really love that movie. Christopher Nolan has really ever made a movie that I just didn't enjoy watching. A couple other ones is Ender's Game. Even though I feel like that movie does get enough love as it should, I just loved how smart and intelligent Ender was. Like, he was like Batman and Sherlock Holmes. Like, you could see him thinking everything through, thinking his moves through. And man, at the end there, where he realizes that he, spoiler, killed this whole civilization of people. Man, I just love that movie. Next from Shammy Rose, what is your favorite band? This has nothing to do with the fact that I love Avatar: Last Airbender, but my favorite band is Earth, Wind, and Fire. The three elements, the three most important elements. Apparently, you don't need water to have one of the funkiest, grooviest bands of all time. I mean, it's one of those things of like just funk in my family. My dad listened to some of these, and I remember when I fell in love with them, it was probably my freshman, maybe my senior year in college. And man, I just really delved in deep to them. My favorite Earth, Wind & Fire song is definitely Love's Holiday, aka Would You Mind. Other bands I really love really comes down to what bands I really love playing on Rock Band, because I just love playing that. So that would be like Paramore, Maroon 5, Boston, Queen. Really love Queen. Queen is absolutely amazing. Next up from Ladder Goat Jr. What's your favorite famous YouTuber? I have a couple that I really like. The one that I just love most anytime I see a video of theirs come out is RDC World 1, or aka Mark Phillips. I think he's doing some amazing work. And also he seems really genuine and really passionate about what he does and really about realizing his dreams and everything. And he is just flat out hilarious. Like, one of my favorite skits of theirs is recently, it's the What They Expect You to Do When You Hear Amber Alert. Like, that is quality filmmaking there. Like, they continue to elevate themselves, and you know, and I relate to them so much because they're black, and also because they love anime. Like that feeling, that shared experience that we all have of like having this thing that we love that not that many people within our own culture understand. And like a lot of Avatar fans, I love Hello Future Me's videos. I also love Sage's Reign. Sage's Reign, I think, just brings so much emotional depth to his videos that it's something that I aspire to a certain extent. Also NerdSync, just the type of information that he provides, you know, on superheroes and comics and the creators, definitely all about the creators. Those are also things I try and explore into some of my videos. Next up, Shammy Bros Theories. What's your favorite video game? That's a really difficult question because my favorite video game has sort of changed over time. Growing up, my favorite video game was Perfect Dark on 64 or GoldenEye 64. I made my closest friends playing that game, coming after school and staying at their house from like 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night, just playing that game, killing each other. The next up is Super Smash Bros. that's the best fighting game, hands down. Like, no matter what your level of expertise is, you can have fun playing that game. When it comes to like adventure games, nothing beats, it's really hard to beat Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, or Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And of course, I'm a Batman fan, so the Arkham series games are always ones that I probably revisit the most because the storytelling there is so great and the gameplay is amazing and the voice acting, they just hit so many things out of the park. So my favorite video game, I think right now for me, would be like the Arkham games. Next up, from Sean Shaler, and also special thanks to Sean Shaler. He is probably the closest thing I have to a best friend. I don't think, like Batman, I don't think I have literary friends. Anyway, you know, he's co-hosts a podcast with me, and really, I talk a lot about my videos to him before I even start on them. And he's a really good just wall to bounce ideas off of. Anyway, his question is, I'd like to hear your favorite non-DC or Marvel superhero. Now this question is a little bit twofold because my second favorite superhero of all time is Static from the Static Shock cartoon. Now he technically isn't a DC character, although every time you see him show up, he's pretty much in the DC universe. DC co-published along with Milestone Media, so if we're not counting him as a DC character, then he's my favorite, but that's sort of cheating here. But someone who's clearly not in DC or Marvel is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I've always loved them, just that burly aspect. I think the Ninja Turtles 91 movie is still really great, even for its time. All right, next up from Brenda Diction. First off, congrats on 1K. Looking forward to the Mancave Tour. I want to know how much you spent to amass that collection. That's a pretty good question because a couple years ago I tried to estimate just how much I spent on anything comic book related. So whether it was t-shirts, posters, comic books, DVDs, action figures, and back then it was probably about $5 grand or so, but that was everything. When it comes to the collection, I mean, the Funko Pops alone is like $1 grand because I have about 100 of them, which when I say out loud that I've spent $1,000 on small little plastic figurines, that sounds horrible. So I would guess probably somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000. Please don't come and rob me. Please don't. I didn't like buy all this stuff at one time. I kind of have grown this collection since pretty much I got out of college. From Clifford Hopkins. He says, so many questions about your collection, favorite comics, favorite movies. It's too much. My favorite comics, I have two that are pretty much tied for favorite comic. Both pretty much mysteries, and they both involve Batman. No surprise there, but they are The Long Halloween, which many Batman fans agree is one of the best comics. It really is. It's a really great mystery, just really some just great like mafia stuff in there, and also just introduction to the Rogues Gallery. Masterfully done. My next favorite one is Identity Crisis. That was one of the first graphic novels I just sat down and picked up and read. But love that story as well. Just how do heroes deal with their real identities and how their loved ones feel around them. Just really great story. Favorite movies, The Dark Knight trilogy, of course. Crazy Stupid Love, absolutely love that movie. And Talladega Nights are pretty much, I think, in my 5 favorite movies. Oh, Mulan, definitely. And Coco, those are pretty much in the top 10. Everything else are always coming in and out of the top 10. Oh yeah, and The Lion King. That's up from Shammy83RG. Who's your favorite actor? So surprisingly, I don't have a favorite actor, but I thought about this and I think it comes down to Will Ferrell, Will Smith, and Kristen Bell. Will Ferrell, he's just absolutely hilarious. This is one actor who I have to see him in anything he's in. Like, even if it's a bad movie, you know he's gonna bring his A game to it. Will Smith, gosh, this guy's just charisma on steroids, and he's also a fantastic actor. And then Kristen Bell lately, when it comes to TV, I think she's doing a phenomenal job on The Good Place. Such a nuanced performance. All right, next up, Rohan G, aka Rohani Boy, which I've done collabs with him before. What was your first video and why did you start YouTube? My first video was Justice League review. The thing is, like, I was always hesitant to start my own YouTube channel because I am very introverted. I don't like attention all that much, which I know is very contradictory to having a YouTube channel, but there's something about just talking into a camera that's somewhat easier than talking to random strangers. But I don't know, introversion is a spectrum, right? And I am somewhere on that spectrum. But I just remember so many times just like getting a little bit of anxiety, like, all right, is this the movie that's gonna like want to make me start my YouTube channel. And finally, Justice League came along. And really one of the things that made me start my own YouTube channel was that I feel like when it came to movie reviews, I just felt like there was a lot of like bias in there. So I would see a movie and wonder like, man, this has like a 90% of Rotten Tomatoes. Like, why is that? And I go see another movie that has like a 30% of Rotten Tomatoes. And be like, these movies are relatively close. Like, what made, what skewed these ratings another way? And then I started thinking about movies in different ways. So like, even if I didn't like, say, Guardians of the Galaxy, I could still say, well, that movie had a lot of heart, had a lot of emotion. All right, well, even if I didn't love the Avengers and I felt like it lacked on story, I could say, well, that had a lot of action in it. And like, say, Batman Begins doesn't have that much action in it. Well, man, I really love the story. So I really started to think of movies in these different areas. And then I started breaking down like, all right, well, what do I think is a good breakout for, superhero movies or comedies? So if I go to someone, they don't care about DC Comics at all, and I tell them about, I don't know, Justice League, I say, well, hey, I loved it because I'm a DC fan, but when it comes to these different things, the action's great, the story's not that great. So if you like story, maybe not the movie for you. Emotion kind of lacked on it, but other things were good. So here's a score for you. And of course, I know reviews aren't objective. I'm just trying to be as objective as possible. That being said, I do kind of have like two different types of videos on my YouTube channel. I have movie reviews, and then I have more of just like character analysis, theories, and things like that. And so that's more focused on like Avatar: Last Airbender, and I've always loved that show. Like, since it aired, I've always loved that show. And a couple of different things actually inspired me to start that part of the channel. One thing was Avatar Critic. He had this video called like, what if Luten didn't die? I remember watching it thinking like, oh crap, Luten is the linchpin of all of this. Also, I would watch Bat Productions videos, who does like what if scenarios in Game of Thrones. And then Avatar Critic stopped making videos for a while there. So I was like, oh, you know what, maybe I want to make, videos like this. And then I started thinking about Iroh, like, all right, what happened to Iroh in the spirit world? And when I started writing that script out, it started leading more into the character of Iroh. And then I really loved writing that script. And so that made me want to write even more things like that. It was more character driven and maybe some theory and not necessarily the whole what if pieces of it, which I still do some what if videos, but that's what really drove that aspect of that side of my YouTube channel. Back to Clifford Hopkins. What made you start a YouTube channel? Again, I just explained that. And how do you pick your topics for videos? What's your recording setup? There's a couple different ways I pick my topics. When it comes to like the movie reviews aspect of it or TV reviews, that's simply straightforward. Like, movie comes out, I watch it, I feel some sort of way about it, and I want to just put my thoughts out there. Other topics just kind of come from my own brain. Like, sometimes I'm just having a debate or conversation with myself, and I slowly start to write like a script to things. And the more I start thinking about it, the more I'm just like, all right, I gotta write this topic idea down. Sometimes things just really resonate with me. If something hits me like really hard in emotion, I feel like I have to get that out. Like with my how Harper Rose, one of the bravest characters on Young Justice, because I've dealt with so many people and kids who have been in foster care and seeing her story there, I knew that I had a certain point of view that I had to just get my voice out there about it. Also, some of the topics, I like to just answer questions and inform people on things that I think they might want to know. I think about topics like all the time. I have a whole list of topics of videos, so I'm not gonna run out of anything for at least another 2 years. But lately I've been really just making videos that I want to see, because once I do that, like, I don't even care about the performances of them or anything, and how many views and likes they get, how many subscribers they pull in, because if I love it, then that was enough. Like the video about I did on the Infinity Train. That video, I don't think it has even crossed 100 views yet, but I love that video. I go back and I watch that video because that video helped me out. All right, so this is a good time to segue into the tour. So my recording setting is fairly easy. Let me just take this off, because this is my camera, which is just my phone that I use. And at this point, this phone is 2 years old. So this is the normal angle that I tend to shoot at. So if we turn this around, you can see my recording setup. which is a whiteboard, which is where I write notes and just like a quick outline, depends on the video. So you can see here, this is outline of my Frozen 2 4D review. Fairly not a lot of notes for a lot of videos. And I just have for lighting, just a very simple lamp that I think my wife bought 10 years ago. And this is all on top of an ironing board. That is the recording setup. For my microphone, this is like a $10 microphone that I got off of Amazon. All right, so let's start the tour. And that is a couch that I lay on a lot, and a treadmill that I lost about 40 pounds on. One thing, I made this poster. This poster is probably one of my most prized possessions in here. It took me probably 40 hours to make. Call this piece Black Superpower. One of these days, I'll make a video about how I made it. It's fairly simple. It doesn't cost that much, but I just love it. Looking at this picture every day, so empowering. Got some posters of Icon and Static signed by Dennis Cowan himself, the creator of the two, co-creator of the two. Jim Lee piece. And man, I love these two posters. Just love them. Batman animated series. And of course you have the best, not only the best superhero trilogy of all time, but the best trilogy of all time. And then, you know, TV, video games. I am a Nintendo loyalist, except for the Wii U, and I have a PS4, which is where I play all the other stuff. And those are my comics, which I don't think are a lot of comics. So we swing around. But one thing you don't really see is up top here is just a whole freaking row of Batmobiles, which I absolutely love these. These are kind of almost what started the collection. So like, even if, you know, you don't like a movie, the Batmobiles are cool nonetheless. Really, these just, you know, took me down memory lane because I had, although I gave away my old toys, I had to rebuy all of these. I had the Batman Forever one, had the Batman and Robin one, had the Batman animated series, even both of them. Did not have the Batman Beyond, but I love that one a lot. And then over here is just this beautiful, beautiful Justice League Batmobile. It is so awesome. And then coming down here, you got some of the GOATs. Dragon Ball Z, even though I don't think aged that well, it's still one of the greatest animes of all time. Yu Yu Hakusho pops, and My Hero Academia is quickly becoming GOAT status. And then just more GOATs over here. Avatar: Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, just my two favorite TV shows of all time, two of the greatest. And this statue of Aang here is probably my most prized statue. I mean, I spent the most on it. It's probably like $120 when I bought it. This used to be the Marvel area until I got this Flash statue for Black Friday. So now it's just whatever. Here is the shelf of dicks. You know, you got short dicks, you know, longer dicks, dicks where it's only the top half of it. You got some older dicks back there, Earth 2 dicks, a lot of dicks on this shelf. And more Robins too. And then here, this is the most prized shelf here. I mean, it's Justice League from the DCAU, just one of the greatest cartoons of all time. This is one shelf that I just don't want my kids to mess with, because all of these are made of like porcelain, and I do not want them to break at all. And then just, you know, a couple more statues, DVD collections. And then working our way up, a lot of pops. This here is kind of the centerpiece of everything. And this right here was my first statue of them all. I got it from Barnes & Noble for like $30. My first pop figure isn't here. It's Batman. I always keep it at work. And then even Harley Quinn, I don't even love Harley Quinn that much. There's just so much material around it. Although I really love that Robin pop. It's really dope. Clown Prince of Crime, of course, has his own shelf. And nothing really needs to be added to. Just symmetrically speaking, this works so well. I don't want to add anything to this shelf. Wonder Woman is one of my favorite comic book superheroes of all time. I think she's like number 4 on my list, maybe number 5. That's a fresh Alfred fresh outfit action figure that I got for Christmas for my mom. A signed copy of Batman the Animated Series by Kevin Conroy. Love meeting him. Down here we got a Bane mask I created and a Prince comic that was signed by Dennis Cowan because he also did the art on that as well. Oh yeah, I got a venture over here. Back to Avatar stuff. So here is a poster of Avatar that I created. Same way I did the Black Power one. Which I really love just looking at this poster. Symmetrically speaking, I really love this poster and the composition of it. I love Rava in the background, the past lives there. And eventually one day I'll make a YouTube video on how I created these. Like I said, it's not that hard. And here's a couch that's never sat on. Just comic books lay there. And then over here is a table. Absolutely love this table. I refurbished it. There's a lot of comics and stuff on here as well. I got it from the Goodwill. I refurbished it. Got it for like $5. I then sanded it down, put a new coat of finish on there. Then on top, same way I did those posters, is I like Mod Podged a couple of my favorite images from Batman on here. And then put some epoxy stuff on here. Makes it really hard. Really good for using a table. Which has my favorite Batman moment of all time. All right, so that is the tour. Thank you. I just truly appreciate it. And you know, at the end of videos, when I say sincerely, thank you for watching, I mean that. That's just not a tagline. It's not just something that I say as an outro. I sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart that you watch these videos, you commented, you subscribed, you did anything. So again, sincerely, thank you for watching. I'm out.